and welcome to Torsey Waldridge Kitchen Gardener, and here are some of the jobs that you guys can be getting on with down your allotment plot, home, or wherever you're growing your vegetables for the month of March. It's a great time to start thinking about what kind of framework that you want to put up in your vegetable garden or your allotment plot. These are going to be my sweet pea frames. I've got my broad bean stakes in. Because we're now heading towards spring, time's going to start slipping through your fingers, so on a bit of the downtime when you have a bit of time to spare, it's great just to get this framework up. Even if it sits here for the next month or two not doing much, at least you know you've dedicated that space to whatever you have in mind to grow. It's up and it's out of the way and it's done. So if you guys at home are growing the tall variety of broad bean, you really need a nice, strong, firm structure, and these hazel sticks do the absolutely perfect job for that. Not only that, they look really attractive in a large bed, depending where you're growing them, instead of bamboo canes. I find bamboo canes can look quite raw, but on the other hand, hazel sticks can be quite expensive from a garden centre. So if you've got anybody that you know that might have hazel or coppices hazel, grab some of these sticks. It will just do an absolutely brilliant job. You also want to make sure that they're whacked into the ground at least 1.5 to 2 foot as well, just so it gives you that rigidity that you need. So as you guys might see behind me, I haven't put any of the hazel sticks in the middle of the bed to continue the row, and that's purely because when I come to plant the broad beans in March, I am going to hoop an enviromesh it, and that is purely just to protect the crop from birds or anything else that might have a go at it. And then once they've got to a substantial height, I will then remove the hoops and the enviromesh, and that's when I will stake, twine it in with a bit of twine and make sure it's nice and firm, and then it will all grow upright and that wind won't blow it down. March is the perfect time to start sowing your parsnip seeds. As you can see over to the right there, that ground is really rough and ruggedy. I dug it just before Christmas. I let the frost get to it. All I've done is use a landscaping rake just to create this lovely fine tilth. And then all I've done is I space my rows at 1 foot apart. I'll do a drill line, and then I will space the seedlings every 6 inches apart. I will then sow 3 seeds into every 6 inches. Once they've germinated, I'll prick out the 2 weaker seedlings and let that strong, healthy one really grow away. March is a fantastic time to be sowing your broad beans. So March, sow your broad beans direct into the soil. If it's still really cold in your area, try and put them 6 inches deep. Just gives them a little bit more protection. It gives them a little bit longer before they start growing for that soil and the weather to really warm up by the time that the foliage has popped through. If you've done what I've done, which is through December, January and February, I've sown mine into pots. These are peat pots. As you can see, the root system just grows through and into the peat pots, and you literally just do a hole, bury them in, and then that will biodegrade. Apart from the plastic tray, they're absolutely brilliant, but unfortunately peat pots are really expensive. The only other thing, once I have planted these out into the soil, I will hoop and enviromesh it, and that's just to keep any frost that hits it real hard. It will stop it from damaging any of the leaves, and also as well it helps against bird damage. It's a great time to give your strawberry plants a little bit of attention. Get rid of some of this old dead foliage from last year and give it a bit of a clean up. It'll make it look nicer, and also as well keep your eye out for caterpillars and just dispose of them of however you wish. So we're now in the middle of the purple sprouting broccoli harvest that you guys would have sown and grown last year, and now reaping those lovely rewards. I'll give you a quick tip with harvesting if you guys at home don't know it. You've obviously got this lovely big head here. If you just take it back, not all the way and not all the stem, then you are left with these little side buds in there, and they will grow into bigger broccolis. A bit like here, I've taken out this middle stem, and these are just the 2 side stems that have grown a bit like this one here that I showed you from. So they'll grow a lot bigger than that, and you will just keep on harvesting. March is the perfect time to get any grass seed laid. So this is a walkway that I've made. I've had a very large C-shaped bed which was totally unmanageable, So I decided to create 4 walkways. 2 I did last year, these 2 have just recently been done. I've let the soil settle, and now I'm just going to rake it over with a landscaping rake, lay the grass seed, rake it over again just so the seed has got some contact, and hopefully over the next couple of months that will germinate, be nice and thick for the first cut of the year. If you guys at home, like I've grown here, these are last year's kales. So this is a Caballonero variety of kale, and this is the green curly kale. Now you may have noticed during the heat, unfortunately they've all started to bolt, which isn't such a bad thing. You do need to consider the ones that have bolted using your leaves, because the longer that you leave that and when they set to flower, you'll find the leaves become quite tough and they're not so flavoursome or tender. And alternatively, when these start to flower, use the flowers. All brassica flowers are edible, lovely dainty little yellow flowers, and got a lovely honey taste to them. So scatter them on a salad, or try them first and see what dish you'd like to put them with. On beautiful sunny days like today, make sure you open all of your glass house, cold frames, polytunnels, open all the doors and windows and get that air ventilating in there nicely. It will flush all of the stagnant, stale air out. It will help against pest and disease. And also as well, if you water in the morning and you leave the glass house open, that should reduce the humidity as well, and then that also will help against your pest and disease.